You guys can watch these videos in the meantime.
Good morning. Okay. Hannah LaRue's in grade 11, right? She's in grade 11. Okay. Alright, sounds good. I'll send her over. Alright, bye. Hi.
Hey, Meesauce here.
Oh.
Hi, failed. You want you to watch Mojo Lops?
What?
Watching Mojo.
It's because I'm setting the mood for today's
Ski tripping, funny, epic laugh. Oh, Moon, is this gonna feel hard? Oh, I told you it was gonna fail horribly.
No.
So, Rice, it didn't go off that radius.
Or we could merge. More than rings.
Oh, that's good.
I already know how to speak.
Oh, he just hit his gnarls in the wrong. Oh, there's a fire hydrant.
Good morning. How are you today?
Oh, that's going to be like super hard. That's like learning Ukrainian and Swedish episode.
Which I did.
It's not Ukrainian and Chico Tama.
It's waiting for you at the library.
I forgot my Swedish.
Oh, so he knows how to speak. The one thing with that,
I just ordered a sweater, right?
It's not you.
I already have one.
That must have been a mix-up.
Butter, I don't endorse.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Not bad.
All right, Melina,
I'm here.
Tashaya, Jaden, Connor, Adam,
Why is that?
Amani, Bo, Ryan, Enrico, he's not here, Hannah. Well, that's it, right? Hannah's not. What happened to her?
She moved to disappear.
What was the point?
Oh, what happened with the
Brian, Sierra,
Hi.
Maurice.
What? Oh, that
John.
goes. I knew it. Oh, wow.
No.
Have you seen Bo this morning? Yeah? And have you seen Enrico? No?
No.
Okay, so Jaden, you have two options for your test. Either you do it now, which I prefer a bit less because we're going to move on with some practice for a big situational problem, which is worth more than the test. Or you come and write it some other time. Maybe lunch or something. Good morning, Bo.
I can't write.
What?
Without graphic.
Then you don't really. You can follow at least today. So what would you like to do? Did you study?
Look at this. I'd like to do some graphics.
No? Okay. So I'll give it to you. You do the most that you can over the weekend. Bring it back to me on Monday.
Is that you?
Yeah, he falls.
All right. So today, there's a reason why I'm showing you these videos.
We're doing some
Okay?
ski alps.
Yeah. So today, I just wanted to let you know. So the class is already recording. So the last class that, by the way, if you weren't here, okay, I'm now
We started our
a YouTube star. Right? So.
How many views did you get?
So what? I'm actually at like 20 something subscribers now. So it's like you guys laugh, but like I'm going up there, you know. So if you look on YouTube at
What's your name?
so that's it. It's just Mr. Laplante.
Yeah, I gotta follow him.
Okay.
I can do it. I will legit post
So if you want to go now on your phone, I don't mind.
I will post it on my story, and 1,000 people will see it.
Okay. So if you want access to the videos, the last one, what I realized is that I went over the test answers, so Jaden, just don't look at that video. But the last one, with the test answers, there was no audio. So I fixed that with the grade 11s now, and I'm posting everything, so we haven't seen each other in a bit, right? In like 2 days. So, so what we're gonna do is that it should be fixed today.
And I see the comments.
What?
I see the comments.
Also, well, talking about comments, right? We can see the comments anyone can write. Like, for example, your mom said, like, you're sick or something, whatever. But if you need to, like, reach me, okay?
Nice water.
Well, it gets better when I'm, like, speaking. Okay? But if, for example, you need to ask me a question while you're doing homework or whatnot, if you go on YouTube and you go into the comments, I get a notification straight on my phone. So that's like the fastest way to reach me, because you're not gonna call me.
You look
email
like a famous YouTuber on your thing.
What?
You look like a famous YouTuber.
I know. Because there's no audio for the last one, but I fixed it now. So now, like, they'll be able to hear. You'll be able to hear
Wow,
me.
your mom said you're up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which this is
Okay, rating
Yeah.
algebra test.
So that was like the answers for the test would be bring home with you. Okay.
28 views.
Okay. Not bad. So you can access this at all times. I wanted to keep it open for a bit until everyone is like subscribed, and then after I'm gonna try to turn it into like private or something. I don't know how it's gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna try to figure it out.
Don't make it private. Just subscribe.
Okay. Anyways, so today we're gonna do that. Next, we're gonna look at the test results. So the average was 71
That's actually better than
on the dot, but that's because I gave people that would have gotten like 20 a 65. Okay. So I want you to know that like the average was not the best, okay? Because of that, okay, we understand. We're gonna move on with life because we can't let that like, pull us down for the rest of our lives. What I need to do now is grade you guys on competency 1. So you know how math, there's 2 competencies on your report card? So the first one is situational problems, okay, which is 30%, and then your other is 70%. Are you guys familiar with that? And in term 1, you weren't graded for situational problems, correct?
Yeah.
And with Miss Abby, you didn't do any, right?
No, well, we did one.
Okay, like a practice, but I don't have the grades, right? So we're going to do a practice one today. It's called Adventure Day in Tremblant, and we should be able to get through the entire thing. So these things are designed to take an hour and 15 minutes. Okay?
That's long.
Yeah, it is long. So this is the practice. And I have the real one with me that we're going to be doing within this upcoming week. I'm going to show you the big schedule for what we're expecting in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so here we have unknown to solving equations. That's what we did. Okay, that's what we just finished. So the test was from the 13th to the 17th. So we're a little ahead schedule, which gives us more time. So if you really don't understand the situational problem, then we have time to go through a second one. Okay? At least.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Because this counts right now, right? I hate to say it, but for 30%,
People are doing
which is
their-
rough.
people
So
are-
ideally, if we do 2, then after at least they count for 15% each. You know what I mean? So the more we get done, the higher grade you have. Probably. Okay. Or I pick the best one out of 2 or something like that. Okay? Because if you get 100 on one of them, then after I'm not going to give you like a 60 if you get a 60 on the second. Right. So up next, so that was situational problems. Let me open this. Our next unit, so situational problems for algebra. Our next unit is table of values to graphs. Okay? So we're going to be taking, like, for example, coordinates. So, like, it's like bracket x comma y bracket, and then we put them on a graph. And then we're also going to learn to graph, for example, 3x plus 4. Okay. So we'll learn how to do that. So it's going to tie in, right? So if the algebra isn't really comfortable, we're going to keep building the skills. I know that for a lot of you, it confuses you, so we're not going to forget about it. We're going to keep reviewing. So by the time that you're at the end of the year for your exam, then you'll be prepared for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right? So if we practice algebra throughout all the other units, then we're good to go. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Your mid-year exam, okay, we still have to have a department talk about this, but right now it's booked for the 3rd to the 5th. So that'll be a 1-period exam that covers everything from day 1. Okay. So we have a lot of like work to get done.
Wait,
Sounds good.
Did anyone comment about my drawings?
On the 3rd to the 5th
On the 3rd to the 5th of what?
February.
Oh,
Did anybody like my pictures?
Okay. So I'm showing you this, right? This is really for my use, but I'm showing you where we're headed. Okay. You'll see the table of values to graphs. We have until the 21st of February to finish. So if for January, for example, we really need more help reviewing everything from algebra and before, so you did circles, I believe, and ratios. Is that possible?
Yep.
So those were like the 3 units that you've done so far with algebra. If you've done all 3 of those, then maybe we can spend more time practicing. Okay? Or even add in a second situational problem or something like that. Okay? Sounds good?
Yep.
Okay. So that's for that. As for the YouTube thing, whatever, if ever you're sick, you can always watch it the day after. Or it's the day of. I literally post when the class is over. You know how we have like the 5-minute intermission break? I post it during there. It takes, for example, I think it takes like 15 minutes for there to be like a 360p like quality video on YouTube, because I made it so that it's the fastest possible. And then after the HD version, which is only in like 720p, loads within an hour. So after an hour of class, like following an hour after class, the video is live, like on YouTube. So like there's really no excuse, even if you're sick one day, right? Just like look at your schedule, look at about an hour after, and then you can watch the video for the day. And like I wouldn't recommend watching it on like full, like on 1x speed, okay? Because you'll realize like how slow I actually speak when you're watching a video of me. Okay? Sounds good? So today we're going on an adventure. Are you guys excited? I bet you didn't wake up this morning and you're like, oh, I didn't know we were like planning a nice vacation. But that's what we're going to be doing today, okay? And we're going to a nice place. It's called Tremblant. So this is the tourism Tremblant website. Have any of you guys ever been there before? Yeah?
Probably.
So it's not too far from here, from Shaki. I don't really know how far it is.
I went there with
From my old house, it used to be like 20 minutes. From here, it's maybe like 40, I would guess.
It's about that.
Or an hour and a
I
half.
went mountain biking there.
I guess like Shaki is really far.
I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
So here, so basically what it is this like mountainous area of the Laplante. So in geography class, you probably learned about that, hopefully. Yeah, the mountain range that we're right next to. So if you look well in Shagi, you're pretty much in a plateau area, but there's mountains eventually. And a lot of people go here for like skiing and things like that.
Are we actually going?
No.
Oh.
Why would we
We're planning a nice vacation there, okay?
We can't afford it. The school budget isn't.
Well, yeah.
We have our own.
Well, yeah, if you want to go on vacation, I'm not going to tell you not to go on vacation. Anyways, during the summer, it looks something like this. It's pretty. It's really nice. People will go rock climbing. Anyways. Yeah. It's kind of cool. And it's not too far. And then after I was watching, like, skiing fails, because you'll probably laugh at that. Okay. So if you want to take out your paper, if you need paper or a pen, Bo, I know you can't write, but that's why we have the YouTube thing, right? Oops.
I brought my hanky in my hand.
How did you break it?
So this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan it, and then after I'll also insert it. All right. So I'm going to scan this, and I'll also upload it as another YouTube video. So instead of adding, like instead of like keeping, like losing track of everything, I'll give you a electronic copy. Yeah, an electronic copy on YouTube, and I'll call it Mon Tremblant Adventure. Okay. So there'll be a video. You can skip through the video, and like for example, every 10 seconds the page will turn like in the video if you're following.
You have 20 subscribers and you made it in like what, 2 days?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I told you I'm
all
famous.
of his classes.
Well, yeah. But that's like more than this class. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Anyways.
But don't you have grade 11?
Yeah, I do.
Now you have 24 subscribers.
Not to spread the
Oh.
word.
You're welcome.
Okay,
I'm gonna subscribe with my spam account.
so who would like, you can, well, I recommend you subscribe because then you'll get like notifications if it's linked up like
Oh,
that.
yeah, I
Turn
turn
on
on notifications.
So you'll get the class. But anyway, if you come to class, like the like video won't really help.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Tweet me at David Dobrik, right? Okay. You guys don't watch David Dobrik?
I watched him like once.
Who is David Dover?
Irrelevant.
Adventure Day in Tremblant. Who would like to read? Would anyone like to read, or would you like my beautiful voice to read to your ears? I'll just wait for Connor to be done.
Reading.
Or else the audio is going to be like a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
I could read.
Like my brain.
Yeah, but a good running hamster wheel is functional, right?
No.
Uh-oh.
I
What?
I
Hamsters?
saw a video.
Are you kicking your hamster down the stairs?
No, I don't have a hamster.
I
I
see.
saw a funny video on YouTube.
Okay.
I used to have a hamster.
Are your AirPods off? Okay. So you don't have to rewrite this entire question because if you do, we'll never stop writing. Okay? So you can title it though, Adventure Day in Tremblant. Okay? This is a situational problem. Okay? So do you guys remember what situational problems are? So there's these types of like, I don't want to call it a test because that's a bad explanation, but basically, Brian, right? Basically what this is that it's an open book, which means that you can use any notes, any resources really that you have to try to solve a bigger problem that would not be able to be done, for example, on a test. So you have like one big problem instead of like many small ones. And it's called situational because they're placing you in a situation. So today we're planning a vacation kind of thing. So in your future, if you're planning a vacation and you want to save the most money and you want to use algebra, then like this is how you would do it. Okay? I'm just saying. Mercedes, ooh, that's a cool name. And 20 of her friends are planning an adventure day in Tremblant to celebrate her 14th birthday. That's exciting. My birthday is next week, and Adam's was last Friday, right?
My birthday is gonna
How
be on
old are you
January the
today?
21st.
They have all saved some money specifically for this trip. So they're saving up. That's a good, right, financial idea, especially when you start working, right? If you get your first job, maybe it's the best idea to keep some money aside for when, for example, you decide to grow up a bit, right? And that you don't blow your first paycheck, right, on a new iPhone with a plan that you can't even afford, right? So you got to think about your money like that too. You have to be sometimes careful, and then when you're young, especially if you're planning to go to like Cégep or something, right? You're lucky that you live in Chateauguay, which is close to like Dawson and Vanier. Like you can get to those places without moving out, but you would probably want more money when you go to Cégep, right? To pay for your books, to pay for your tuition, things like that. Okay? So it's definitely not a bad idea if that's where you're headed. Even if you're going to a trade school, right? You still need to save up to have like tools and whatnot to be able to function in your trade. Anyways, sidetrack, but important piece of life. So they have done some research and narrowed down the list of adventure activities. So these girls are adventurous. They are interested in to a few possibilities. Okay, so they're going to do some of this stuff like in the video. Mercedes needs to look into each of the activities a little further to verify that the activity is affordable and feasible. Do we know what feasible means?
It's in her price range.
Within her what? Personal range? Price range. So feasible is like possible. Okay, similar kind of idea.
Oh, yeah,
So they want to make sure that the activity is affordable, so they have enough money, and possible for their group. Feasible though also has to do right with what Connor said, like money. So
like,
is this vacation feasible for our family? Right? Is it affordable for our family? Similar idea. You see, you're even learning new words. Friday morning and we're learning words. Isn't that nice? Below are some of the things she needs to consider. So the group is being dropped off in the center of town in Tremblant. Okay? So they're being dropped off in like downtown. Okay? They only have 5 hours available before being picked up. Because they are a large group, they are hoping to receive a group discount. So you know, like when you're like a larger group, sometimes you get group discounts, right? If you go to like La Ronde or something and you're like over 20 people, you get a discount. So you don't pay like full price. They need to keep the total cost of the trip to a maximum of $2,000. So they've been really saving up because 5 people, $2,000, that's a lot of money. They are planning to go midweek in order to get a better deal and avoid the weekend crowds. So that's also another alternative too, right? Sometimes you want to, some places like jack up the prices on the weekend. Judgment needs to be used to determine if her friend's parents will approve of the activity. So obviously if they're saying, oh, we're going to go cross-country skiing, mountain biking, and we're going to jump off a cliff, maybe the parents aren't going to be too happy that they're doing like 3 extreme activities, you know, for a group of 14-year-old
Bike
girls.
riding down the mountain, that's hard.
Well,
I
yeah,
crashed once.
yeah. So our task, okay, so this we can keep in mind. Our task is to evaluate each of the activities to determine if it satisfies all the criteria. Remember that you will be evaluated based on the organization and clarity of your work. So this is a real situational problem, right? In addition to your mathematical process. So that's what I'm looking for. Organization, clarity, and mathematical process. So if you just write down a random answer and there's no process, I can't really give marks. But that also goes in your clarity and organization. Okay? It might sound tedious, but sometimes you might need to write things down. Yeah. Yeah. It's on the desk. For each activity, write and use an equation to help Mercedes determine the total cost for her group. Justify, do you know what justify means?
Just to be clear.
So explain, yeah. Each of your responses, explaining whether or not the activity meets all the required criteria. So these are the criteria. Do you know what a criteria is?
No.
So a criteria, for example, is like I tell you, I'm describing something and I'll give you a list of things that it has to satisfy. Okay, so it's kind of like a list, okay, that describes something. So this is the list that all the activities has to agree with, right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So these are the criteria. So criteria are things that it has to, right, agree with. So the activity has to be, for example, less than 5 hours or 5 hours. It has to be, like they have to understand that they're being dropped off in downtown Tremblant. So if they're going to the mountain, they need to pay for a taxi or they need to find a way, right? Uber doesn't exist in Tremblant, but like they need to find a way to get to the mountain. Okay? Things like that. Okay? So every activity has to satisfy all these criteria. Does that make more sense, Bo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Justify means to explain. Okay. So if you want to go, like for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for all the criteria, and you say, for example, this activity satisfies criteria 1 to 7. Right? That's an explanation. You're justifying. You're explaining. Okay. So that's our task. So they're obviously going in the summer because this wouldn't make much sense in the winter. But the first activity, so I'll show you a bit what it looks like. So we have activity 1, which is river rafting. We have whitewater kayaking, zip line,
Oh, that's scary.
cliff climbing, and that's it. So we have 4 activities to choose from. Maybe we'll be able to afford 2. Maybe we'll only be able to afford 1.
Don't do
Okay.
rock climbing. Rock climbing is boring.
So here, river rafting, you can say full or half day rates available. So you can go either full or half day. Sounds good, right? You can either go rafting for the 5 hours or for 2.5 hours. Here you have no transport, the prices. This is just like when you go to, right, to a theme park or whatever. No transport, so if you go on a Saturday or a Sunday, this will be the price. But remember we said before that they want to go on a weekday. So with transport, and then with transport on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so those are the prices.
So that means no transport Saturday and Sunday.
So you also have to see here, right, the location is 75 minutes from downtown Tremblant. So if they're being dropped off at Tremblant, this is 75 minutes away, which is an hour and 15 minutes.
Free
And they only
transport.
have, right, how long do they have?
5 hours.
5 hours. So if you have an hour and 15 minutes away, plus an hour and 15 minutes back, right, that's 2.5 hours of your 5 hours gone. So you only get to really do one activity. Okay? Let's consider it. We're planning the vacation. Okay? I'm not saying maybe you guys want to go river rafting. That's what the fun part about these is, right? You can choose what you want to do. Here is whitewater kayaking. So these are the prices, no transport, with transport. And remember, these are the prices per person, right? Here, it's 30 minutes away from Tremblant. One free pass for every 10 participants, but they're only 5 people, right? So does this apply to them? No.
Yeah, I go to the bathroom.
You sure you want to go?
What?
You sure you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the zipline adventure. So here is in downtown Tremblant. Groups of 20 or more get one free pass daily from 9 to 1 or from 1:30 to 5:30. Okay? These are the prices on the weekend and the weekday. And here is cliff climbing. All right, so you can go for 3 hours, 4 hours, or 5 hours, and it's 30 minutes from downtown Tremblant. Okay? So is it possible for you to do the 5-hour climbing?
You would have
No, because it's 30 minutes away, right? So if it's 30 minutes away and 30 minutes back, that's an hour, and you only have 5 hours. So the maximum you would have is the 4 hours. Okay? Sounds good? So we'll come back to these, right? There's nothing stopping us from coming back. Okay. So now here's the student booklet. So this is something that you're going to receive. Okay? But for now, what you'll be writing down is, for example, activity 1, river rafting, and you'll write down this stuff, whatever I write. Okay? So here it says, evaluate each of the activities to determine if it satisfies all the criteria. So all the checklists that they gave us, we need to make sure that each activity, right, tries to satisfy it, tries to say it's okay. Yeah. Remember that you will be evaluated based on the organization and clarity of your work, in addition to your mathematical process. So that we're, yeah, that's fine. Unless you want a lined piece of paper, you can choose. For each activity, write and use an equation to help Mercedes determine the total cost of the group. Justify each of your responses explaining whether or not the activity meets all the required criteria. Okay? So activity 1, river rafting. Show all necessary work. So what is the equation to calculate the total cost for the river rafting? So did they tell us an equation for river rafting? No. So that means that we got to use our mathematical prowess to figure it out. That means skills. Okay. So here, I'm going to try to show you like this. So I have river rafting here. Sorry as I get the camera. Okay. So up here I have the previous page, which is river rafting, and the page ends here, and this is the second page. Okay? Okay? Jaden, if you need to move up, that's okay. Don't feel shy, okay? So show all necessary work. So the equation to calculate the total cost. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When it says no transport Saturday and Sunday, that means on Saturday and Sunday there won't be transport.
So that's if you have, for example, some sort of transportation to the activity. Right? So this is like a shuttle bus from downtown. But you have to pay for the shuttle bus.
Each time?
So would they have to pay for the shuttle bus? If they go to the activity? Yeah. Right? So are we allowed to buy the no transport option?
No.
Right? Or else you wouldn't be able to make it there. Okay? Are we going to choose the no transport on Saturday and Sunday?
No.
That makes no sense, right? Are we looking for with transport? Yeah. And are we buying it on a Saturday or a Sunday? No, we're buying it on a weekday, right? So this is the prices. This is just like real life, right? It's like you're going to a real life place and you're trying to figure out the prices, okay? So with transport. So here they're 14 years old, right? We're assuming they're 14 years old, and we're going to assume that all their friends are 14, okay? Or about the same age. So here we have a full day adult. So are their parents coming on the trip?
No.
No. They're just dropping them off and then the parents are doing whatever. Full day youth. So 16 years and less. So do you think that they can do that the full day? So if they go, they have to kind of take the full day, right? Because we talked about before that you can't really do the half day youth. Okay? Because they also don't tell you what the full day is, right? But if we assume that the full day was, for example, 5 hours plus, okay? So we have to pick the full day youth, okay? Which one did we say we were picking? No transport's at Sunday, or with transport's at Sunday?
With transport.
So this one, 135, okay? So now I have the price of one ticket. How would I get the prices of 5 tickets?
You would times it by 5.
Yeah. So here, okay, I'm just gonna write this down on a sticky note because I don't want to write on the paper, okay? But I'll do something like this. This is what you're expected to do. So let X equal price of ticket, okay? And then after, how would I get 5 of these X's? What do I write? So 5X. So 5X is equal to the price of activity with transport. Weekday. Okay? How does this feel? We're like, okay, right? So all I'm doing, and you're going to see often, it's kind of like the same thing. Either you're going to a store to buy something. Hinton, oh, I didn't fill this out. Bo is here. Enrico's not here. Who would like to take a walk?
Oh,
Okay. So here, that's our thought process. Yeah.
if we just figured it out without like using the algebra, would we use one?
So here they're going to tell you define variables.
Oh.
Okay. So they're expecting for you. This is going to be an algebra situational problem. So what they're testing is your algebra skills. Okay. I think that's. Good morning. The attendance is on its way. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Bo always decided. You can turn them off.
What?
They're off? Yeah. So X, we said X is going to be our price of our ticket. And then we want 5 of the tickets. So 5 times X. Did I lose you? Yeah.
X is gonna be your ticket.
So yeah, and then there's 5 girls going on the trip, so I want 5 tickets, right?
Yeah.
Jaden, you okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still confused a little bit.
So I have a ticket,
Yeah.
which is 1.
Yeah.
It's X, right? If I want 5 tickets, I go X plus X plus X plus X plus
Yeah,
X, right? 5. Okay. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, equation to calculate total costs. So the total cost is 5x. Okay? So if you want to write total cost 5x, you can write that. Would you like me to write it?
What?
So total cost is equal to 5x.
It's Wednesday.
It's Friday today.
Is it? No, it's Monday.
Friday.
No, it's all of the above.
So define our variables. So define our variables is x is equal to the price of ticket. We already did that. And the total cost for the group. Okay.
Every day is a Monday.
So if I have this here, I'll show you my calculator. This is like Khan Academy. 5 times, and then the price was here, right? We're gonna go full day youth with transport on a weekday is $135. So 5 times 135.
Miss L.
Miss L'Espérance. Is $675. Okay? So the total cost here, just so that this makes sense to you, okay, is $675. Okay, so here I had let x equals the price of a ticket. I want 5 tickets, right? So I went in my calculator here, and I went 5 times 165, right? 135, sorry. 5 times 135, which was $675. Okay? So even one day, right, if you work in a dépanneur, if you work like for your first jobs and stuff, right? If you're ever gonna like work in a grocery store, things like that, and for example, that's what this is the computer is doing as you scan them, right?
So 5x equals 675.
Yeah. Because X, though, you had to know was the right price of the ticket. Remember when we went through the logic of each ticket? And I said, oh, this is the one we're going to have to buy for $135. Okay. So the total cost for the group is $675. So does this activity satisfy all the criteria? So I'll read them to you. The group is being dropped off in downtown Tremblant, so you have the transport, yes or no? Yes. They only have 5 hours available before being picked up. Is that okay? Like, for example, we're assuming that they're going to spend as much time as there as possible and then come back. They're hoping to receive a group discount. Are they getting a group discount? No. They need to keep the total cost for the trip to a maximum of $2,000. Is it under $2,000? Yeah. They are planning to go midweek. Are we going midweek? Yeah. And judgment needs to be used to determine if her friend's parents will approve of the activity. Will they approve in river rafting, come enjoy 1 or 2 runs on the Rouges River, Class 3 and Class 4 Whitewater Rapids? Maybe, okay? I think it depends on like the level of conservatism in the family, okay?
I think they should do bungee jumping without ropes.
No. No.
They should do
But like
bungee.
you could say though, I think the activity is too extreme and does not satisfy all the criteria. It doesn't satisfy all the criteria because they don't get a group discount, right? So here you would say, does this activity satisfy all the criteria? You would write no. Okay.
Let's go bungee jumping without
Oops, sorry.
bungee rope.
So does this activity satisfy all the criteria? You say no.
No.
No, because there is
The dead man.
no group discount. Okay? And you could also say because there's no group discount and the activity is too dangerous for a group of 5 14-year-old girls to do.
And they're all girls.
Well, I'm assuming.
I think they're boys and girls.
I thought they said it was all girls, but you might be right, Brian.
And because I've gone to parties with boys and girls. That's pretty much all the parties I've gone.
Ryan, am I invited to your birthday party?
I'm not having one.
Aww.
Why not?
I mean, I've never had one, so.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh.
I was supposed to have one once, and I didn't do my homework, and my mom found out. And in my agenda, it kept saying, did not do homework, did not do homework, did not do homework. So she canceled my birthday party.
That sucks.
I was really.
Do you guys still use the agendas?
No.
Do some of your teachers use them?
Old school.
It was in elementary. I was like.
Oh,
grade three.
elementary. I was gonna say
Why you were gonna make us use that?
no. Okay. So the second one is whitewater rafting. Okay. What? Pardon? Yeah, so that's it. So that's the end of activity 1. So you see, it's really not intense, but it's because obviously I'm reading it to you and I'm pulling out where the information is. That's going to be the hardest part. But right, if you pretend like this is real life and you pretend like you're actually going to this place, it's going to motivate you to find the answer.
We should go there as a class.
I don't think we have the budget. Did you just see how much the price was?
Only like
But that, like, the most expensive part is like the transport from here to there. That would be like probably $600-700.
everyone from the class bringing $5. $1 more.
Okay.
I don't have.
Andrew's kidnapping us.
I'm kidding. That's nice. This is on live recording. We just said that YouTube is gonna report me.
Nothing more.
It won't record.
Okay. So
Not
here
kidnapping us.
I folded the picture.
It's no longer recording.
Yes, it is. It's recording on another screen recorder, not this, because this one didn't work. Okay, so here my activity number 2 is whitewater kayaking. So do you think that the parents will approve of whitewater kayaking? It's when you're in a kayak and you're going in like rapids.
Oh, okay, that's
No.
cool.
Do you know what white water is? Do you know like when when water crashes at like an ocean and it turns like white?
Yeah.
Right? That's white water. So when it's a white water like kayaking, right? You're in a kayak, which is a one-person boat, and you're doing like these like the waterfalls and stuff.
I want to do it.
So maybe this one we can say, right, the parents won't approve.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Probably.
My
Okay?
parents
It's
would.
14 too, so.
That's pretty but if you flip over, right, you need to
Yeah, you did.
learn how to do it. Like I had a friend who did this for like fun.
My summer camp gives out less.
Okay. So here, come experience a moderate section of rapids on the Upper Rouge River, accompanied by a certified guide. So you get a guide. So maybe the parents will be okay with it. Enjoy 11 kilometers of Class 2 and Class 3 rapids. So it's about 3 to 4 hours. Okay? So here the location is 30 minutes away. So if we have 30 minutes there, that's half an hour. 30 minutes back, that's an hour. And the activity lasts 4 hours. So we're good. That's the only activity we can do though. We can't combine it with other ones, right? So here, person 12 and up. So are they 12 and up? Yeah. So with the wetsuit rental, no transport is $94. With the transport is $102.
Imagine going kayaking without a kayak.
So do they need the transport? Yes. So which price are we picking?
94.
Transport, that means no kayak.
Do you want to try again, Bo? Which one are we picking?
102.
102. Okay. So so let's start with number 2. Define our variables. I don't know why they put it number 2 in all of this, because if we define our variable, that's going to help us find the equation. Okay? So which letter would you like to pick now? Y. So let Y equal the price of a ticket.
Oh, why can't it be B?
We'll do B next, okay?
Yay!
Price of ticket with transport.
Why? Why not?
Okay? So that's this one. Define variables.
Why?
Okay? Now, what's our equation to calculate the costs? Jaden? Jaden, bud? Good morning.
Rise and shine.
It's like rise and shine, you know, Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner.
Who's
Rise
Kylie?
and shine.
Oh my god, Brian, you don't even know who that is either?
Anyways.
Oh, my pinky.
So you didn't know
I
Gordon
can't even
Ramsay,
open
you don't
my
know
eyes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So here, equation to calculate the total costs. So if I have 1Y is the price of a ticket, how many tickets do I need? 5.
You want to know something cool?
So what's my equation?
My great grandma met Bob Ross. Yeah, before he passed away.
So 5y is equal to the price. Okay?
Oh, bro.
So this is the equation. So did you realize how this is the exact same as the first one? Right? This is the exact same answer as the first question. The other one we chose x. But both are 5 times the price. 5x or 5y. If you did this as x, then don't move it, Bo.
How am I not supposed to move it? I put it on the desk if it hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Pain.
Okay.
No pain, no gain.
So what is the total cost for the group? You're going to tell me what to put in my calculator.
Miss L. Miss.
5 times 102. And why did I do 5 times 102?
Because 102 is a transport.
With the transport, yeah. But why did I do 5 times? Because there's 5 people.
Wait, you did 5 times 5 plus 102?
Just 5 times 102. I want 5 tickets. Each ticket is $100. $102. So my price together is $510. Okay? This is my price. So justification. Does it satisfy all the criteria?
No.
So no, because it's probably too dangerous. And no, because they're not getting a group discount.
And don't go.
Okay. So no group discount
Too dingy.
and dangerous.
And dangerous.
Is the real one like the same difficulty as what we're doing now?
Yeah, about the same. This one might be harder. But if you don't write an equation,
Ah.
then after you don't get the points. Right? If you don't write let y equals the price of a ticket with transport and 5y is equal to the price, then you don't get the points. It's the algebra part. Okay?
I like watching vector memes.
Did that make sense? Okay.
What are we doing again?
If it didn't, then we're going to move on to a third example. So you see why I like using this one as an example, because you literally have to do all 4. Okay? So, well, we're going to get there.
Oh, is that part of it?
What?
Is like the food that they're eating part of this too, or is it just the activity?
So far it's just the activities.
I love eating food.
Mr. Laplante,
Yeah.
it's time for a break though, by the way. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would remember Jaden be sleeping.
Why is this song playing? Because I'm like, it's just a Spotify playlist.
I like the rainbow.
Do you want to close the door? I don't want to distract people with Miley Cyrus.
Can we put a national theme?
Oh, no, not that. That's
We
fine.
already listened to that.
I like this song.
That means when he puts his music out.
Oh, it's true. You guys get to pick the song, right? Yeah.
Actually, can we put Sans music?
How about we play
Sans. It's really good.
Sans?
Yeah, Sans.
Fergalicious, oh my god.
Fergalicious?
Undertale.
Yeah, it's just make them.
Alright, give me a piece of paper.
So when the song is over, oh my god, the song is so long.
You want
Is
a
that what I
longer
chose?
song? American Pie.
So halfway through the song, we're gonna go back. I don't know. So enjoy your break, breathe, relax.
Oh, I should finally breathe after 30 minutes.
Only 2 minutes.
I call this. Luigi. Because Andy and Ryan make Randy-ish language.
need to because my key just
Or this.
I don't know.
Yeah. The NDS.
I don't choose
It's
mine.
an electronic key. Yeah.
NDS. Alright. So first
I
one.
got it fixed.
You don't
Know
know
this
why.
like by heart.
Is hello.
How'd you have to make this song?
Singing.
I can sing it over the last of my AirPods.
It's not even playing loud.
More active.
Can we put Undertale? It's really good. Trust me.
No,
I'm gonna put up a list with music requests, and you each get to like request one.
Can we be the first one to request? American Pie. Can I be the first one
Guess what?
Just write your name and then the song. If it's not appropriate, then
It's Undertale. It's from a video game. Of course, it's appropriate.
It makes
what? Why?
Because
Where? Cornwall? Cornwall?
Okay, I'll let you make a word.
of course I told you.
I'll let you make a word.
I just go there and go, hey, look, the tour
My friend went there.
next year.
But he played for the Kingston Frontenacs. He was the captain. He was like in NHL 2018. He was playing with my friend. It was really weird. But then after like he was like at kind of like that moment to go to like NHL, you know, it's like the next step.
I love first request. Yeah.
So you gotta like have plan B.
Yeah, boy.
No, but like what you want to study, you know, later on.
Yeah, boy.
He started singing.
Oh my god, he's ugly.
Okay, we're gonna stop there because it's been like 3 minutes. So, and I'm not even estimating. It actually says 3 minutes 11 seconds.
It's almost done though.
And what happens if I get copyright striked for just like playing all of Fergalicious, right?
Oh.
Just mute the sound and continue because I called you.
You've
a
already
pedo,
been
remember?
copyrighted if it was because it's like 5 minutes.
You do know
Like
the
more
dance.
than a minute of the song, you're copyrighted.
Well, we'll see because I don't know if the audio it'll be distorted, right? Because it plays from there and my mic is here, so
Well, Dance Monkey is not copyright.
we'll see.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I don't really know YouTube very well. All I know is the Korean putting Dance
That
Monkey
is
on
not.
mine.
Yeah, I just realized.
Whoa,
God,
God,
no, that was made a long time.
Miss
Whoa.
Lou.
What? It's maybe you can put like.
You can probably edit and put music on
Yeah.
But Dance Monkey, it's not copyright.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Okay, here.
It's copyright.
So now we're at activity 3. So part of the plan, right, is that we come back to the class,
Not copyright.
right, Sierra? We come back afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So our third activity is the zipline activity. Zipline aerial adventure. Have any of you ever been ziplining before?
Yes.
Yeah?
Wait, I'm afraid the person that lets you up is going to sleep before.
This is just shock.
Oh my god.
I didn't know for that.
Really?
Terrifying.
When I used to live in Ottawa, there was like a fun place in like Gatineau to go.
No.
But there's like also Albanal. I've been there too.
Nebraska, they have this big,
Nebraska.
this big long one.
Yeah.
Goes, and you slap into the tree when you land. And there's no stopping it. They say, oh, just catch your feet. You don't catch it. Boom, you're going
That's intense.
to You're going
Okay.
full speed too down.
Yeah, she was like right there.
Oh my god, you're shocked.
So here,
Stop what? Stop reading?
Sierra. So here, the description is, try this sensational aerial adventure with 120 meters of zip lines strung 30 minutes in the canopy. So 30 meters, that's 90 feet in the air, and that you're going to be shot 120 meters everywhere.
That's crazy.
Okay, so before we start, let's find, the price that we're going to choose. So are we going on the weekend?
No.
Hell
Or are we
yeah.
going on a weekday?
Yeah.
Yes. Are the adults 18 and up?
No.
No. Is it youth 17 and less?
Yes.
Are they children less than 12 years old?
They could pretend to be.
No.
I think
install
Really?
Yeah.
So under
Sometimes I don't have to pay because they think I'm like,
You look well.
thanks, Bo.
No, you look like a
Anyways,
great time.
so Bo, what we decided is that each person is going to pay 36.31. Okay? So this is in the center of Tremblant. Groups of 20 or more get one free pass. So it's daily from 9 to 1, which is how many hours?
9 to 1.
4. Or from 1:30
Super stop.
to 5:30.
big maths.
4. Okay? So both are 4 hours. So that gives you an hour of free time. Right? Because if you zip line for an entire section, then you still have an hour of free time. And there's nowhere, right? It's in the center, so you don't need transportation. Okay? So what would be my equation? So let's do the variable, right? So Brian said B, right? B for Brian.
Yeah,
So
you
let
know best.
B
Not really.
represent what? So the price of one ticket. The price of one youth ticket.
Wait, that says D, not B.
What's B?
Yay.
One youth ticket.
One.
Okay.
No.
So let's do this one. You're going to do this one by yourself.
Wait, say youth? I thought you said as Yelp.
Hmm?
I thought you were supposed to say Yelp, not youth.
So what's our equation to calculate the total cost? What do we think? Oh, don't take it off. Don't take it off. Wow.
Then don't take it off.
So in this language, B.
Jaden, do you want to move up? Do you want to move up to focus? Yeah? Sierra, I want you to focus too. So 5B is the cost.
$5. $5.
Okay? So what do I put in my calculator?
5 times 36.3.
No, so it's 100.
So what do I put in my calculator?
36.
Or choose like papyrus sands or.
Sierra, what am I putting in my calculator? So here's the equation, okay, which says 5 times Sierra. 5 times B is equal to the cost. What is what is B? Which ticket is going to apply to the girls?
Just say the humans.
If you went, how old are you? How old are you? 13. So you fall underneath the same category. If you went to this place, look at the prices on the board at the top. Which price would be for you?
You.
So you 17 years old or less? And then are you going on the weekend or weekday? What do the girls say they wanted to do? A weekday. So how much is one ticket?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. So I'm going to have 5 girls times 36.31. Okay? So when I click equal, I see that the total cost
It's $1,800.
is $181.55.
That looks like a fifth.
Okay?
The H is not complete
Well,
because I have
So that's the
OCD.
total price?
for this activity. Okay?
You don't, Brian.
Even.
Let's put this way on.
That says
81.55 cents
Okay.
for the 5 girls. Okay, this last one you're doing by yourself.
Oh.
Okay?
It's
So I'll
probably
read it to you, but you're going to do the same thing.
cliff climbing.
So the last one is cliff dive or cliff climbing, they call it. So accompanied by an experienced guide who will climb cliff faces with series of passages and suspended bridges while admiring view of the Diable River far below.
Oh, Diablo means devil or
Yeah.
demon.
Devil. So here the location is 30 minutes away from Tremblant, transport is included.
I think this is the best.
You can go for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. I'm not going to tell you which one to pick. Okay? All right? And I want you to do this part here at the bottom. I want you to find the variable. I want you to calculate the cost. I want you to find the total cost. Well, this is the equation for the cost. The total cost. Does this activity satisfy all criteria? And then you'll say why.
Oh no.
Who needs a piece of paper for this?
Can we just not do this?
Don't you feel like I'm
I
running
don't
so
want to
much?
play anyway.
Give you a situational problem.
No, rather than not give a second.
Well, right? Practice makes perfect. You need one?
They just won't let.
Yes. Okay.
Adam.
Back to some more. Adam.
Do you have a pen? You good?
Oh
So this is what we're doing. It's like not much to write up. So you,
yeah. 47.
Yeah, I broke it.
you think so?
Yeah, I feel it. Every time I just put it on paper.
Be quiet.
Well, my Brian, I want you to figure this one out. Okay? So this is the one you're doing together. Sorry, I'll fix the camera for you. Okay?
So now you have to find $47 for 4 hours for all 5 hours.
That's per ticket.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to say die now.
Okay. Bye.
Brian, I want you to try this one. I did the other three like together, but this one I want you to try. Okay? Imagine it's you in real life, right? You're going on this vacation and you're there with 4 of your friends, and this is what's going to be written on the board, right? No one's going to be like, okay, write out an algebraic expression, right? No one's going to say that. But you're doing something in your head, which is the exact same thing that you're writing down. That's what I want you to realize, right? Is that you'll go and like, let's say I go to Lerone with all of you guys, right? And I say, they're going to say, well, you need one adult, right? But they'll be like, there's one adult, and then there's going to be like 14 of you, right? So what am I doing in my head? I'm doing 14 times your price tickets plus mine.
I just went to
Right.
one spot.
You should do that.
Well, I don't know how many it is, but
Funky.
okay. So do we even get a group discount around?
No.
It's fine.
Oh,
Any
25.
of them have
Right.
discounts that are available to them?
That's it. So
Not on this one, though.
Oh, this is bad.
Ryan.
But it's, you can understand.
Too many things.
It's not
Alright. We're making 4 friends.
bad. And when you have the answer, please don't scream it out.
Yes.
Jaden, I want to see something. If there's nothing written on your paper, then it's a lunch date with me. A lunch date? What? A date. Because detention is so negative, right?
Yeah, but still, it's still bad.
By the way, I'm not single.
So it's just
I wasn't actually. It's a metaphor, right? It's
Definitely.
like how do you explain that? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Not sarcastic.
Brian, you're a single person.
Let's go, girls.
Yeah.
I want to see
I
some
wrote
written.
4.
I wrote death.
So what's your expression?
I'll get the right expression.
What's your equation?
5 times 36 equals
Well,
180.
So then what's your variable?
All of them.
That doesn't make sense.
That's the thing. Not this way.
You have to, Brian, but you have to do it this way.
Okay.
This way is right, but you're missing one piece. You're jumping ahead. you have to go back to this part, the define variables. Right? Remember we chose B for Brian,
Yeah.
but B represented what?
Oh, the variable was supposed to be.
No, it can be whatever you
Oh,
want.
okay. I was about to say.
The variable down to B.
So a letter that represents a number.
They only have 5 options.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And we also have the
So you have to consider the time, yeah.
for the transport.
But transport is included.
Wait, what?
They only have 5 hours, right?
Wait, which?
They should go for
But I'm not telling you the rest.
Just think about
We're
it.
doing
Look
this
at the
question
law
for an hour.
It says 30 minutes from there
Yeah.
and back.
Finish.
What is 30 minutes plus 20 minutes? An hour. So. Don't tell him. Yeah. I know you're not. You said an
You
hour.
figure it out, Sierra.
I know you're
If this was real life, right, would you get scammed or would you be smart enough to figure it out and save your friends money?
Would you get
Walk.
You know how far 30 minutes is in Tremblant? That's like, it would take you like probably 6 hours to get there.
Driving.
And
you are
All
a
right, some more radiation.
slow walker.
Radiation.
Take a whole damn
So
day
times
there.
2, 12 hours for Sierra.
Is
God,
Your
you
friends
take
will have to
12
come back
hours
the
to
next
get
day.
there.
language.
She's not gonna show up.
Okay, well then run there. Get your own bike.
Because
No, we're just.
So you're gonna bring 5 bikes to Tremblant and then you're gonna bike to the
Yeah, you're gonna bike there. You're gonna bike while you're there, and then bike back.
Why not?
Pitch black at night. You're gonna be biking back. Sure.
You are
Why don't you get
run a
blown
little
by
night like
there?
Okay.
So
How is this? Easy? Exact same as the other ones.
I was half asleep the entire time. I was listening to what you were saying, but I was like,
So we can rewatch it tonight if we didn't understand.
oh no.
'Cause I literally did this question.
I can't afford YouTube.
Right, ladies and gents? I did this question 3 times. So here, my variable, can someone tell me which variable they used?
A.
So Z is equal to the,
Wait, what letter is that?
Okay.
It looks like some kind of weird dollar sign. Like euro or something.
No.
the equation, Jaden, the equation is 5 times Z. 5 times Z, which is equal to 5Z.
What is that? Is that a 7?
It's
A Z.
Oh.
Because to clarify that it's a letter.
So what? I don't know.
So Amani said
Not essential.
that a Z is equal to the cost of 1 ticket.
That looks like boards.
5 times Z is the same thing as 5Z. Right? We should know this. This should be last year's stuff. Okay? So if I put 5 times the correct ticket, which is only 4 hours, right? Because the transportation is included, but it is 30 minutes from downtown. So if I take 30 minutes there and 30 minutes back, that's an hour of transportation. I only have 5 hours. So if I have 5 hours and I take away an hour of transportation, I only have 4 left for activities. So there's no point in paying for 5 hours of rock climbing if I can only do 4. Okay? So we pay for the 4 hours one, which was $47. 5 times 47.
Equals 235.
Good job.
Damn, Brian.
I'm smart.
Okay. So does this criteria does this satisfy all criteria?
Sure.
With the exception of no group discount, and it's pretty safe, I guess. I don't think it's very it's compared to the other ones. This is probably the safest activity. That and the zip lining are probably are safer.
To be honest.
Anything with water, right, and drowning and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just afraid of rafting,
Look at
but
Math
I think
Sir, look at mathhelpservices.com. Copyright by teaching.
I would feel
Copyright by teaching solutions software. No part of this publication may be reproduced without written.
but I'm not making money from these videos, right?
Yeah, you are. YouTube gives money.
No, my channel is not monetized. It's
What?
demonetized. My channel is I didn't monetize it.
That at least on 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. So we gotta subscribe so I can get money from this.
It's
If I make money from this, I give it back to the school.
Yeah.
Monetize it.
Oh, can I have some tape to tape this down?
So here,
William.
so which activity? Okay,
I'll get it for you.
this is the last question. Which activity or activities do you suggest that Mercedes and her 4 friends choose for their adventure day?
Literally just one.
So most of them, let's listen here, Connor. Most of the activities, right, were the full time. Especially with the transportation for the rafting and stuff like that, it's not even worth it to do more than one activity. Right? So I kept the 2 cheapest ones. This is zip lining and this is rock climbing. Okay? None of them had. You listening?
Yeah.
None of them satisfied the criteria for a group discount. No one gets a group discount in any of the activities. So that we can put away. Okay? So we have to take out the dangerous ones though, which was probably rafting and the kayaking, the whitewater kayaking. Probably more dangerous than zip lining. Right?
What?
I would feel safer kayaking than zip lining.
Yep.
Zip lining,
Wait.
you know, those people just kind of.
But the thing is, I'm scared of the fucking water. I love water, and I love swimming, and I love doing all of that, but I'm scared of
I don't like jumping off, what's it called?
I think everyone should be scared of water, right?
Yeah, water.
I can't swim. I'm
Right, I can swim great, and I'm still
I
scared.
swim amazingly, but I'm scared of
Well,
water.
that's it.
I'm scared of seaweed.
I'm a level
But like for some reason,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey, what do fish smoke? Seaweed.
okay. So here, Sierra, Jaden, this is not music time. Okay? So here, Connor, Ryan, here I had the cost for zip lining, here for mountain climbing. Which one's cheaper? The zip lining, right? So the zip lining is safe. Is there a transportation for the zip lining?
Nope.
Right? So these are some ideas. If you only have a 5-hour day in Tremblant, by the way, it's like what we had said before, an hour and a half to get there. Are you going to want to take another shuttle for another half an hour or an hour after that?
No.
No. Right? So I think, personally, my answer to this question would be, I would choose the zip lining activity because you pay exactly for how much you're there for. There's no transportation, additional transportation, so your parents can drop you off right at the activity, and it's the cheapest. So they save the money, and they can save the money for another day, right? So that they can spend the leftover money that they would have spent at the shopping mall or something like that. Okay?
One time we spent $300 on shopping, all in one day.
Okay.
$300
I don't know how to answer that.
for only food, because we eat a lot.
Oh my god, my mom spent
Okay.
$200.
So we spent $300 on your only food.
And that was it. Okay?
I ate 4 waffles and under
That was it.
Racing.
4 waffles?
Yeah, 4 waffles in under 20 minutes was racing. This morning.
Okay. So I'll stop the recording here.